On this week's episode of the Marketing Expedition podcast, I get to speak with Maxim Jago, and he is a futurist, filmmaker, and author, and he is also the founder and director of the Creativity Conference, a global meeting of minds to explore the essence of creativity in all of its forms. But first, it's time now for the Marketing Essentials moments, the basics that you need to help you build your brand and your bottom line. In this week's topic, I want to talk about video marketing made easy. And some things that you want to know before you get into your video production if you've never done it before, or maybe you have, and these will just be some good reminders and tips that you'll want to do and go through the process and just really think about how you're going to capitalize on the video marketing that you can do to continue building that brand and bottom line. First of all, we want to figure out what your goals are. What are our goals? What are our expectations? What do we want to get out of this video production that we're going to do? And what is it that your competitors are doing that maybe you could do even better, right? You can R&D, rip off and duplicate, but really it's modifying it to make it your own. You can, of course, be inspired by others, but then make it your own and what is that you're wanting to accomplish and who you're trying to reach. What audience are you going after? Who is your target audience that you want to watch this video? And then, of course, researching the potential topics of what you want the video to be about, what's trending in your industry or your area or your community. What is it that's going to, pique interest, and how are you going to pique that interest? And then thinking about the content that you want to get out of the video and how you can use that beyond just the initial video itself. Are you going to turn it into a blog post? Are you going to have little clips that you can use on your social media? What kind of things can you do to plan ahead on all of the purposes that you want for this video and all the topics and all the places that you're going to put it? And then, of course, thinking about the different platforms that you're going to put it on and how they're going to consume it, your target audience. How are they going to reach it? What are they going to look at? Is it going to be on Instagram Reels? Is it going to be on Vimeo, YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, even with video? And of course, it's a different file size and format that you can have on each of these platforms, right? So think about how you're going to do that. And then when you're recording the video, if it's one of those types of things where you can have multiple takes, do it multiple times so that the editing and editors have options to choose from. And when you're shooting, of course, stay away from those windows and backgrounds that are going to create that backlighting situation. Or if you're recording outside, the best time of day to record is either right before sunset or right after sunrise, where the lighting is going to be on one side of the atmosphere, right? As opposed to directly above, giving you weird shadows and casting weird shadows over you. And think about if you're going to be recording, if it is outside, where can you do it in a quiet space to avoid all that background noise and interruptions? Or if you're inside, where are you going to record it? Is it going to be next to a noisy fan or air conditioner, or what's going on around you? Maybe it would be better to do it in a room that you can close the door. And of course, when you are using a lav mic, the one thing that always drives me crazy is when people don't hide the wires. It seems like amateur hour to me when people are having wires hanging out all over, right? We want to make sure that we tuck the wires in behind and clip the mic in the right place, and avoiding, if women are wearing jewelry, or men too, wearing jewelry, like not having that lavalier mic right next to where it's going to make noise, right, when they move. So thinking about that. And then when the cameras are shooting, if there's one camera or two or multiples, thinking about the shots that they're going to focus on and holding that shot for a while to make the action happen within the shot, and not just having so many movements that it gives you whiplash, right? Focus those shots that can be used for valuable editing purposes, okay? And then, of course, capturing establishing shots, wide shots, long shots, medium close-ups, and extreme close-up shots, having a variety of different shots for your B-roll. It's called A-roll and B-roll. A-roll is the first tape back in the day that they would cut the interview, and then B-roll would be the additional tape that would be covered over top of the A-roll, right? So now we still call it A-roll and B-roll, even though we don't have tape anymore, but still it's an industry term that we use. And thinking about, again, the golden hours for the best shot, before dusk or after dawn, thinking of the lighting situation that you're going to have. And if you need a teleprompter, using one, and if it's an appropriate time to use one, if you have a lot of content to read to the camera, then you can use a prompter that's right by the camera, trying to keep it eye level. Having the camera eye level when you're using a teleprompter teleprompter is very important. Otherwise, you're going to be looking down or looking really up, and then people can really tell that you're reading from a prompter. If you can do it without a prompter, that's even better. But I understand sometimes we need a prompter to be able to get all the content out that we want displayed. And then, of course, that shooting eye level is so important because we don't want to shoot up where it's like this, it makes it look like it's God complex where we're shooting up, up someone's nose, for example. We want to have that camera eye level. So adjusting the chair, if you can't, if your sticks on your tripod are not high enough, or if you don't even have a tripod, do what you can to steady the camera and having that camera at eye level when you are interviewing somebody or if somebody is looking at the camera. And then, of course, watching for those shadows, where the lights are coming from, using a reflector or a fill light if you have one, or something that you can use even in just a white poster board that you can use to reflect camera or the light to fill the side of the face that might be getting a weird shadow. And then review your shots. Do some test shots. Review what you've got to see if it looks good or if there's something that could be done differently. And thinking about if you have the option to wear eyeglasses versus contacts. Glare on your glasses can sometimes be distracting, or people can't really see your eyes. So then, the trustworthiness and authenticity of being able to look into somebody's eyes is stolen away from eyeglasses that have a crazy glare or something of that nature. And then, of course, when you're thinking about the videos that you're making, don't make them overly long. People nowadays, they don't want to watch a really long video. And if there's things that you can be saying within a couple of minutes versus a really long form, get it done. Unless there is intentionally supposed to be a long form if you're doing a training video or something that does take time to explain something. But if it's a testimonial or a company overview video where you're talking to the CEO of the company, those types of things, we want to keep them short and succinct if we can. And then, of course, making sure that you have great audio quality and video quality to display what it is that you're wanting to share and showcase and tell the world about. And then, of course, if the video is intended to emphasize solving a problem, or maybe you're posing a question to get people to think some more, just think about what kind of content you're going to say. Maybe not using hard selling techniques where people are, turned away because you're hard selling them on something, right? Rather than hard sells, we can have subtle calls to action or ways to get more information, those types of things. And of course, we can always emphasize the product or service value. And then, of course, providing those solutions that people want more information about, teasing them just enough to where they need to find out more information from you. And of course, the harder the information is to understand, consider using some graphics or some animation or text overlays that can really help drive a point home or be able to showcase what's going on in the video, even if you don't have the audio turned up, making it audio agnostic so you can still understand what's going on in the story of the video without having that need for audio. And I'll just make a note too, make sure your computer alarms are turned off, like mine just went off, but there's a case in point. Making sure that you have your cell phones turned off or your alarms on your computers turned off. That couldn't have happened at a better time, right? But then thinking about, okay, now how are we going to optimize this video to get it out there so that we can make this video marketing made easy? So optimizing your video title, looking at descriptions and things that are popular or trending, and using words in your title that are going to be easily searchable and found. We know that, Google owns YouTube, and so videos are served up on Google just as much as they are on YouTube. And so thinking about those titles that you want to do for your videos and adding that description. The description is really vital to being able to have your video found when people search for whatever it is that they're searching for. And then, of course, using relevant tags and then tagging the videos. On the backside, you can tag with the metadata that you're using. So again, when people are searching for it, those popular keywords will come up. And then thinking about the subtitle and transcriptions that you want to use for our friends who may need to have it ADA compliant, and or again, if they don't have the audio turned up, they want to watch the subscriptions or the subtitles, I should say, or the closed captions. And then thinking about the thumbnail that you're going to capture, you can use a specific thumbnail. You can use an attractive, eye-catching thumbnail. And then, of course, tailoring your video content for mobile users and the size and how you have that video rendered out, thinking about mobile users and how it's responsive to whatever device it's going to be showcased on. And then, of course, that clear call to action, the CTA, at the end of the video or even during the video, having links available depending on where you're displaying the video. How are you going to drive traffic to the website that you want it to go to, or whatever action you want them to take because they've watched this video. And then posting it across all of the different social media channels and having it rendered out the right size and format and file sizes and all the things that you're wanting to think about where you're going to get that video distributed. And then making sure that those closed caption files are along with it, or if it's got closed caption files that it's automatically going to generate, making sure that the text is in alignment with what's actually being said. You may have to tweak the closed caption verbiage just a little bit to make sure it understands. We always have to redo my name because my name is spelled RHEA instead of RAY. And so we always have to go in and adjust it just a little bit depending on what is being said, if my name's on it or not, or other people too, wanting to make sure that the verbiage is matching the words that are being spoken. And then thinking about how you're going to get this video distributed and how other people could share it. So partnering with content creators or other micro influencers to help you promote the video. And then if you're interviewing people on camera, having them share it out with their audience as well, or just depending on who it is that you have in your video and who you can partner with to help share that message out in the world. And those micro influencers, if they have an audience similar to who you're trying to attract, getting them to share and show it on their social media platforms as well. And then incorporating those videos that you do into your website, or maybe you have a monthly e-newsletter that you can link out to and use that thumbnail so that people understand that they can click on it and watch a video. Just finding those different ways to get that video out there and distributed, and the downloads and watches and plays, and then of course watching the analytics too to see, okay, are people watching the video all the way through to the end, or is there a drop-off point where people are dropping off and no longer watching it? And if that's the case, then maybe it's time to think about how you could modify it to make it a little more interesting so that you can keep people watching it. It's really important on your website to have people stay on your website for a longer period of time. It's really great for search engine optimization. And videos really help with being able to keep people on your website for a longer period of time. And so if you've got a longer duration, a longer time period that people are spending on your website or on a particular page on your site, then that's going to be really good for your ranking. And so if you can pay attention to where people may drop off, then, making a modification, or if people are watching it all the way through to the end, great. Do more content just like that, and analyze what's working and what's not, and continuing to modify and evolve and do more videos based on the topics that people want and that they want to hear more about. We do that with our blog posts too. What types of blog posts are people wanting to listen or read to more? What podcasts are getting the most downloads? And so really looking at those analytics to understand what kind of content people enjoy and will share and like and comment on, and then doing more of those types of things, right? And then measuring that ROI that you're using. So what did it cost you to put this whole video together? What's it costing you if you're going to promote it? If you're going to do ads, if you're going to do video ads, if you're going to do OTT, over the top advertising, or insertion, or connected TV ads where you're going to play it on streaming services. What kind of things are you getting as a result of the money that you're spending, and tracking that ROI and looking at what platforms are getting more plays and more views than the other ones that are not, and then shifting the budget to those things that are you are spending money on that are actually being highly effective. So measuring that ROI, using the right metrics or KPIs. I like to call them kept promise indicators, but otherwise known as key performance indicators. And then thinking about the analytics software that you're using, how you can use that, and evaluating the success of each month of those videos that you're posting and doing. And again, reusing high performing content to create similar videos, or even a series of videos that you can continue to optimize and have different titles that will lead people to the videos that you want them to see. And as a result of all of these things that you're doing to help improve your video marketing, you will see an ROI to continue to help you build your brand and your bottom line. And of course, if you ever need any help with your video production, or thinking about what it is that you want to accomplish, why you want to accomplish it, Peppershock Media is here to help if you ever want our input and opinion. And we've got a video production team ready to be able to serve your needs. And now it's time for our interview with Maxim Jago.
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition Podcast, an auditory journey through the latest in marketing, branding, and advertising. Now, here's your Marketing Expedition guide, Ray Allen.
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition Podcast. I'm your host, Ray Allen. I'm the president and CEO of Peppershock Media and the founder of the Marketing Expedition community. And today's guest is Maxim Jago. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Very happy to be here. Hi.
I would love for our audience to know a little bit more about you and what you do. And of course, the big, huge creativity conference is coming up. But just share a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are now.
Wow. I often start this by saying that I was raised by intellectual hippies, which is a bit like being raised by wolves, but with better tea. And I had this wild upbringing that at the time I thought was normal, but I've come to realize is far from it. And one of the outcomes of that upbringing, I suppose, was I learned an important lesson that's really taken me through my whole life to this point, which is say things that you mean and mean it when you say them. And so I have always had a fascination for how things work. I studied esoteric systems to try and understand how the universe works, different forms of creativity, technology. Fast forward quite a lot of years, I now share my time between directing films. I have a slate of feature films. I consult as a futurist for a number of very large organizations exploring emerging future technology, whether that's quantum computing and AI or social economic development and education or just some awesome new tech. And I'm an author. I'm kind of known in the media world as the guy who writes the official book on the editing system made by Adobe Premiere Pro, the official book on Audition, and a couple of thousand tutorials on post-production. But, and I have a bunch of other little sidebar things that I do, but one of the biggest things I'm focused on at the moment is that I established the Creativity Conference, which we're hosting in Iceland, in Reykjavik in August. It's going to be amazing.
I cannot wait, and I get to be a speaker there. I just can't wait to be surrounded by other world-renowned speakers and creativity. It's just going to be amazing. Share a little bit more about what's going to happen at the conference.
Well, it's just, I feel kind of emotional talking about it. The idea, this conference was going to be a side project. I was like, oh, I'll just get a bunch of people together. It'll be awesome. So, basically the genesis of it is that I felt like I was speaking at conferences around the world. I'm a keynote, 20 years speaking at conferences. And I was musing to myself one day, what would I pay to go to rather than being paid? Because sometimes I do come for free and what would induce me to do that? What would that be? And that's kind of the origin of the Creativity Conference. So there's a key differentiator. We have 52 speakers. We have 156 sessions. We've got 7 concurrent speaking rooms and a digital experience room. We've got a keynote from the head of media at NASA, a keynote from the head of content creation at Verizon. Erin signs off $4 billion a year in content. Wow. We've got amazing media tracks. The founder of Raindance, co-founder of Sundance, Vashi Nedamansky's coming, Mark Mann, famous photographer. We've got all of these amazing speakers coming. And a lot of us, these speakers, we are used to being given an agenda, right? We're given a remit. And the remit, I've given a keynote on the power of metadata and why statistics and standards are important. But, what would happen if I said to you, hey, you can speak about anything you want to. Whatever your joy is, share that. So we don't invite anything that the speakers could put in a step-by-step list, not this conference. FMC are an amazing company. Go to an FMC conference. They'll teach you amazing skills. You can learn step-by-step how to do things for post-production and media, photography, and the arts. Great. That's not this event. This event is not techniques, technologies, workflows, business, branding, legal, marketing, none of those things. This is, tell me about your joy. What is it that inspires you so profoundly that you find you have no choice but to create something that simply never existed before? And then how do you do that? We invite the speakers to talk about practical, actionable, specific advice on how they achieve. How do you get from the block of marble to the statue of David, right? How do you, what is that? And so, you might be talking about technology and you might say, yeah, it's good to have more RAM, more memory on your computer. Great. How much more memory? What type of memory? No, that's not this conference.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about using a pen, there's these amazing new Excense Labs tablets or a Wacom tablet. Great. Which specific model? No, that's not this conference.
Mm-hmm.
So share your joy. And the goal is to make every presentation a little bit like a time telephone. Now, the time telephone concept is beautiful. The idea is, imagine, you could speak to an older version of yourself, let's say 25 years away, and say, hey, I'm in this situation, what do I do? And the 25-year-old version says, oh, I've got this. This is like I did this wrong when I was your age. Let me tell you exactly what you should do. And so you can't, as far as we know, we don't have time telephones yet.
Right,
but
not yet.
It can be someone else's time telephone. I believe that it's experience that bestows wisdom, not age. Mm-hmm. And so if you look back at your experience and think, well, when I was starting out as a creative, and it could be running a business, it could be raising children. We have the architect of the Hyperloop stations, for example. We've got a performance poet, a choreographer, an acting coach. Like whatever your industry is, you have insights to share about this universal quality of the human condition that is creativity. And the outcome is that you become much more dynamic, you become much more able. I'll give you a stupid example of my own. It's not stupid, it's genius, right? Your short-term memory has a buffer. It's got a limited capacity. And when you're focused on a given task, the absolute most you're going to get out of your short-term memory and just the focusing part of your mind is about 18 minutes. That's why TED Talks, they're 18 minutes. Beyond that, forget it. Nobody's home. Like the information's arriving, but you're not doing anything. Take a break of at least 3.5 minutes that does not involve focused thought. Do some exercise, go for a walk, do the washing up, do something. Don't look at social media. That requires focused attention. Do something else. You can chill out with a friend for a minute, go and sit in the garden, but don't do anything that involves thinking for 3.5 minutes. You will find when you get back in the room, your buffer's clear and you're ready to do more work. It took me 20 years to learn that lesson. I would spend you've got the Pomodoro technique, which basically is the same idea. You've got all of these approaches. If you can find someone that's been doing this for years and years and years, i.e. one of our speakers, they become your time telephone. And it's been quite difficult, to market this. It's been quite difficult to explain how impactful this is. Because, if I was to say to you, right, I'm doing this, right, coming up soon, I could teach you Premiere Pro, right? I'm an Adobe Master Trainer. I actually certify trainers who certify people to edit with Adobe Premiere Pro. Right. And so I can give you a Premiere Pro class, but so could hundreds of trainers, maybe thousands. But how many people are going to teach you? Like Norman Holland had his book, The Lean Forward Moment. How many people are going to teach you that when the scene is working because you feel it? Ann Coates, 3 Oscars, edited Lawrence of Arabia. We were having dinner years ago, and bless her, she passed away a few years ago. We were having dinner, and I said, Walter Murch has his In the Blink of an Eye, right? So when it's time to, I'm an editor, right? So it's time to cut because you blink. That's the point at which your brain says, okay, I get it, show me something else. That blink is your biofeedback indication to cut. But then Walter Murch had this lean forward moment. Like, how do you know the story is moment when it's working? Because you're leaning forward in your chair and your pupils are dilating. Your body wants to connect with this story, with this idea. Okay. So I said to Anne, so what's your thing? And we're all at the table. I'm drinking soup. And she said, it's none of your business. Oh. She said, I'm not going to tell you, you'll do it. And then people will hire you instead of me. This is Anne. She's like 82. And she's like, no, I'm not going to tell you. I choose not to share. And I was just poised with my spoon of soup. Okay. But then she said, what I will tell you is that I don't care about the technology, the techniques, the special effects, continuity, technical issues with the shot. If I'm feeling something, I know the audience will too. And I know that they're not going to notice, the boom's in shot, or the glove isn't on the same way on the hand, like the little continuity stuff. No one's going to care about that, which is absolutely true. And so just make sure you're feeling something. This is what you get. This is the advice you get from somebody with 3 Oscars, right? As an editor. The third one was just for We Think You're Amazing Oscar. I forget what they call it, like Lifetime Achievement Oscar. Like, you're awesome, have another Oscar. Yeah. She edited something crazy like 70, 75 feature films.
Oh my gosh.
So, but, imagine if you could spend 3 days in this gorgeous landscape in Iceland with 52 people like Anne, where every one of them will say, no, let me tell you how it really works. And I describe it as a campfire. You're sitting next to a friend who's a super world expert in something, and you say, hey, that thing that you do, that amazing thing, tell me the real lowdown on that. Like, what is that? And they get another marshmallow and they say, let me tell you the real inner truth. And it's 3 days of that. We start with mindfulness and Tai Chi lessons every morning if you want them. It's buffet lunch, keynotes. We have 7 concurrent rooms I mentioned with the sessions. Interior, we have an interior Japanese garden, an interior Icelandic garden that you can just meet with people in. We've got a meeting system because I want people to connect and collaborate and engage and make friends and colleagues. The first night is our music night. I feel like a verbal brochure. The first night we've got, so the first day we have lots of musician speakers. We've got Soso Topic, Alex Hummingson, Patrick Cannell. We have Vinci, so Sami Torber is actually coming over from Sydney, and she has a metaverse pop star persona, Vinci, that she will, hopefully be performing live with motion capture. Oh, wow. We've got Alberto Moreno, all of these amazing musicians who will speak about their method during the day, and then several of them, maybe even all of them, will be performing that night at a famous venue in Reykjavik. We're at the Gamla Bio music venue. And that's our music night, all included in the ticket. Second night, we have the entire ice museum to ourselves, the Perlin. You go through an ice tunnel to get into the museum. It's got the biggest dome cinema in Europe. We've got the founder of Rain Dance, the co-founder of Sundance. We've got Vasil Neremansky. I feel like I'm missing one. But we've got several filmmakers who will be there, who will be judges for our 1-minute film competition, which we haven't announced officially yet, but we're going to be doing an amazing 1-minute film competition. And then we'll be doing music and drinks. And again, it's a networking thing, and you get to explore the museum just for us. The closing night is an open mic night. Again, we have a fantastic venue in Reykjavik, and anybody attending can sign up for a 6-minute slot to do their thing on mic. I'm thinking about making the closing night fancy dress. I'm 60-40, I'm going to make it fancy dress.
Oh, that sounds like it would be amazing if we did. Yes.
Right? A fancy dress, open mic night? Yeah.
Yeah, why not? I think that's great. Get dressed up.
So that's the creativity conference. Yeah. Yeah.
And now a word from one of our sponsors, Coach Outlet. I don't know about you ladies, but I love my Coach purses. And guys, if you have a special girl or a mother in your life or a sister, I'm guaranteeing they're going to like it too. So go to peppershock.com/offers and select the link, and you'll get $10 off your first $100 order on Coach Outlet products, courtesy of your friend, me, Ray Allen. So peppershock.com/offers, go get your $10 off your first $100 today at Coach Outlet.
And we're live streaming. We haven't announced this publicly either, but not everybody can get themselves to Iceland. It's a long way to come. Nothing will compare to being there in person, but we're live streaming all of the sessions for free. We're filming everything. So if you attend, you'll get access to the full library after the event. And if you can't make it to Iceland, you can access the live streams and you'll be able to sign up for free.
Wonderful.
So we want as many people to access this stuff as possible, but it's super expensive running events like this. We have to charge for the tickets in Iceland. It just has to be.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It's not going to be the same if you're just not there in person, but I think the way that the world has gone, they understand, live streaming is just another way to be able to be a participant when you're far. So my students were asking, because I also teach at Boise State one class a week, and they were asking if they could attend, and they're like, we can't afford to go to Iceland, but we want to see, we want to be a part of it. So I think that that's an amazing feature that they'll get to be able to at least watch live streaming and then having it available later. But I honestly think that it's going to be amazing if you're there, those connections and face-to-face networking and talking to people, relationship building, really being able to meet with people from all over the world. I mean, people coming from everywhere. So I cannot wait to see and be a part of all of this. And I have to tell you, thank you for inviting me and making me be a part of this wonderful conference. And, we met while we were both speaking at another conference, and this is how things work, right? Those connections that you make and the relationships that you build and over time. And so I love the fact that we actually get to do it in person this time.
Well, we just experienced this, right? We were both just at NAB in Las Vegas, and my goodness, I mean, it was very moving.
Yeah.
Seeing people I haven't seen for 3 years. And, after you get over the hugs and the hellos and you're there sharing an environment, and this is something that, in some ways VR is beginning to provide us with a shared environment experience. Yeah. And so you have a deeper sense of empathy. That's why, for a long while, people were calling VR the empathy engine, because you've got the shared experience that you're having together. But, being there in person and looking each other in the eye, and the type of human connection that is possible in that circumstance it just is incomparable, to an online experience. I said I consult as a futurist for a number of organizations, and one of the things that I've been asked to speak about a few times is, the post-pandemic world. And a lot of people have been saying, oh, it'll be unrecognizable, it's a completely different landscape, we have to plan for things being totally different. And from the beginning, I've been saying, absolutely not. Right. No way. Everything is basically the same as it was. We've got some economic issues that we've got to face. There's some instability in the world that's awful, but our day-to-day lives working together, unchanged. Our economic model, unchanged. Do work, get paid, feed your family, learn, grow, find joy, all of the things, nothing's changed. And I was saying that we'd have about 90% just life back to normal again. And then you'll have about 8% where, new systems will be in place for people to do remote working. And I think I stand by that number, 7 or 8%. We're getting, people are just renegotiating their contracts to work remotely. And I can't remember the last project I worked on that wasn't cross-border collaborative. Years since I worked on a project that didn't involve multiple sovereign regions. Right. So that's normal for me, and it's becoming more normal for lots of people. And then it'd be like, 1 or 2% different, right? New approaches to things that people hadn't planned on before. And that's, it's pretty much there, like 1 to 3%. I think that's what's happening. That still means 90%. We look forward to being in person. I'm about to go to the Cannes Film Festival, where I'm hosting a couple of events there. Coincidentally, before I forget to mention, we're about to announce on the 10th of June, we're hosting a one-day creativity conference at the Microsoft Innovation Lab. It's called the Digital Garage in Manhattan in New York during the Tribeca Film Festival. So anybody who's in New York, keep an eye on our website, creativityconference.is, which is the Icelandic domain extension, and you'll see information about signing up. That'll be a free one-day event. The one in Iceland, we have to charge because there's a whole bunch of costs we have for that. But the 10th of June is going to be pretty cool. I was at the Cannes Film Festival last year, and it was about 60% turnout. Amazing. This year, I think it's going to be really, really busy.
People are just
this is why we felt we could go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we felt we could go for it in person. Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. Well, if let's have one more plug on how to get tickets or how to watch the live stream. Share a little bit more about how they can get access to this.
Absolutely. So the website is www.creativityconference.is. That's India Sierra, the Icelandic domain extension. There's all the information you need is on that website. Tickets are available now. It's a good time to sign up because hotels are getting pretty packed in Reykjavik. It's a gorgeous place to go. I haven't mentioned Iceland that much. It is stunning. #1 in the Peace Index 13 years in a row. Bring a camera. The landscape looks photoshopped. It's just ridiculous. It's so gorgeous. Super nice people. Most people speak English. Great internet. You'll have a wonderful time in Iceland. And with all of the information about signing up for the live streams will go live fairly soon, along with information about our short film competition. We're probably going to do an open creativity competition as well. and those will be made public soon. But the website's the #1 place to go, creativityconference.is.
And then I have my promo code to get $100 off your ticket too. I'll drop that in the show notes, so that way if people are listening and want a little love there,
no,
we'll put that in there.
Creative.
Yeah,
Is that right?
Creative. Yeah,
Sorry, Ray Creative.
Ray Creative, yeah, RHEA Creative. I know.
Yeah, Ray Creative.
I answered all of it.
We'll get you $100 off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, gives you $100 off the ticket. So you're definitely going to want to do that.
We'd love to. I love giving little perks to our audience, so that's amazing. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us today and sharing a little bit about yourself and the conference and just dropping words of wisdom and creativity that you do every time. So thank you so much, Maxim.
Thank you, Ray. I really appreciate you having me, and have a lovely afternoon.
All right. And for those of you listening, if you think that somebody else could benefit from listening to this episode, please share it. And of course, give us a review. That's always helpful for us. It's the liquid currency for what we do. So podcast reviews are great. And until next time, everyone, enjoy the journey.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Expedition podcast. Want to continue the journey? Don't miss out on new episodes. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Wouldn't it be great if there was one place you can go to get all the latest information and tips about marketing and advertising? The Marketing Expedition community is that place. People like you gather in our online community to build relationships with others and find the latest marketing trends, tactics, tools, and technology. We help you build your brand and your bottom line. Start your adventure today. Visit themarketingexpedition.com to find out more.